Hello and welcome to another 101 lab. In this lab, we'll be learning how to enumerate for privilege escalation on a Linux target using linpeas. Linpeas is a script which will search for all possible paths to escalate privileges on Linux hosts. I'll be using both Kali Linux and Metasploitable for this lab. In this lab, we'll be looking at how to use linpeas to enumerate a Linux target for all possible privilege escalation opportunities. To begin, we'll first need to establish a basic shell on the target. To do this, create a reverse shell payload using MSF console, transfer this to the Metasploitable target, establish a Metasploit listener, and execute the payload. We'll be continuing this lab from this stage. So we now have an interpreter shell on our target. The next step is to download the Privilege Escalation Awesome Scripts suite, or PEASE for short. This can be done by opening a terminal on Kali and typing the following: git clone and the following GitHub address. This will download all the scripts and tools you need. For this lab, we'll be focusing on linpeas, which is the script for enumerating on Linux targets. Once downloaded, navigate to the directory containing the file linpeas.sh. You can locate this file by typing the following into a terminal: locate linpeas and then the / grep linpeas.sh. So let's do that. So the first command here will search the whole system for linpeas, and then grep will take all of those results and only show us ones containing linpeas.sh. So in this case, there's two. There's two because I've already copied this file, but that is the next step, which we will get into now. This will show you the exact location of the file. We want to copy this file to our home directory for simplicity's sake, which we can do by typing the following: cp path to the file we want to copy, and then the path to the place we want to copy the file. So in this case, cp the path to linpeas.sh and then /root to put it into our home directory. Once we have a copy of the file on our home directory, we can return to our interpreter shell. We want to transfer this file to our Linux target. In a real-life scenario, this would be done using a phishing email or some other form of social engineering. For this lab, simply transfer the file to your Linux machine by any means necessary. The easiest way to do this is to connect your Metasploitable machine through FTP and transfer the file that way. Once on the Linux machine, we can easily execute the script. In Meterpreter, type the following to get a shell on our Linux machine: shell. Before we can execute the script, we first need to make it executable on our system. We can do this by typing the following: chmod +x linpeas.sh. Okay, so if we type FTP and then the IP address for our Metasploitable machine, hit enter, it will then ask us to sign in. So sign in with msfadmin and msfadmin. We can then use the send command to send the linpeas.sh Perfect. So linpeas has now been transferred to our Metasploitable machine. And we can confirm that by going to our interpreter session, typing ls, and we can see linpeas.sh here. Okay, so we've now made the linpeas.sh file executable. Once interacting with the CMD shell, we can execute the script by navigating to the directory where we saved the file and then typing the following: /linpeas.sh. So let's do that. Type shell ls to view all files. We can see linpeas.sh there, so we can type /linpeas . Perfect. So we first need to make it executable within the shell, or within the bash shell in Meterpreter, by typing chmod +x linpeas.sh and then execute with /linpeas. So as you can see, the script is filling our screen up with text with regards different privilege escalation methods. So let the script run. It may take a few minutes and we'll then analyze the output. So while the script is running, let's return to the script for our lab. You will notice your screen filling up with lots of text. This is normal as linpeas goes through the entire system looking for various privilege escalation methods available. We can save all of this output so that we can evaluate it later by executing the following command: /linpeas.sh and then the sideways arrow results.txt. So that will save the output of the linpeas tool to the text file results.txt, which is useful for us later on when we want to analyze these results. LinPEASE will look for a massive amount of information to provide us with a comprehensive list of all options with regards privilege escalation. Some of the information gathered include hidden files, files with specific names in them such as password or credential, interesting files with potential passwords, credentials for services such as Apache 2, mail usernames and passwords, etc. LinPEASE color codes the information it provides us, with items in red providing us with the strongest possibility of privilege escalation. So you can see here the key to the color coding in LinPEASE. So red/yellow is 95% privilege escalation vector. So that's something we really want to pay attention to. Red means we should take a look at it. It's either interesting or it holds some kind of key to privilege escalation. Light cyan is users with a console. Blue are users without a console and mounted devs. And green are common things, and light magenta is your username. So we can see here some of the things that LinPEASE have uncovered. So finding password or credential files in home, it will uncover numerous files with the name password or credential in it, which are interesting for us. We may want to look at these. For example, Mozilla Day is a service that runs, or PHPMyAdmin. If we get the password for one of them, maybe we can take advantage of those services to try and get a more privileged shell on the system. It will show us some hidden files that we may want to look at or take advantage of. It will look at some interesting files, for example, ones with root in the name, which we may be able to take advantage of, or MSFadmin. And it will look at the mail address here for usernames or passwords and locations where the mail is stored, which might contain some sensitive information. So as you can see, there is loads and loads of data that LinPEASE will gather in an attempt to provide us with some of the best privilege escalation solutions or methods that we can use on this system. So that's a quick rundown of LinPEASE and how to enumerate for privilege escalation on a Linux target. And that brings us to the end of this lab.